It's March, which only means one thing.
It's madness.
March Madness. What if the UFC and March Madness combined for a tournament, pound for pound style?
Still wouldn't get as many views as Power Slap.
So we have 32 fighters, 4 from every division. They're broken up into 4 mini divisions. So we have the 2 smallest, flyweight and bantamweight together. We have featherweight and lightweight together, middleweight and welterweight together, and then light heavyweight and heavyweight together. We're going through all 16 of these first round matchups today in the video, pound for pound style. So who is winning in this fight if they both weighed the exact same weight?
Yeah.
You know, so we're taking fight styles into account here, not just their legacy, who they've beaten. We're taking into account who would actually win this fight.
I think the most important things to remember here is it's not all-time skill. It's like right now skill in 2025. And then also the weight. Like if we have
fluffy on your chin.
Okay, well, I feel uncomfortable now. But like if you take a look at one of these matchups coming up later, O'Malley versus Moreno. Obviously, Moreno is a technically smaller person, but you have to size him up a little.
Yeah,
we're hit him with the shrink ray gun.
Yeah, we're treating it as if they were both like 5'10", 155 pound.
Exactly.
Lightweights.
Exactly. I think this will be pretty fun. And like Dylan said, this is part 1 of March Madness. So in part 2, we're going to be finishing the bracket.
Yeah, let's start off with our first matchup. Number 1 seed Alexandre Pantoja versus number 8 seed Kai Kara-France. He is the only non-top 4 ranked fighter in his respective division to make this bracket, because
tell us why.
Because Amir Albazi doesn't actually deserve to be the third ranked.
It wouldn't even be an interesting conversation if Albazi was
this
here.
is a fun fight to talk about.
Yeah. So what is Kai Kara-France ranked 5th?
4th.
All right.
Champion plus the top 3.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. Interesting fight. First seed, he deserves it.
Yeah.
You know, Pantoja, obviously the most skilled in these lower weight classes, and I think the most dominant for the longest amount of time. Him and Merab are probably up there. Against Kai Kara-France, even though he's the lowest seed, I think he actually has like a sneaky chance.
He has a chance, obviously, with the power he has.
Yeah.
The power we saw him against Steve Ursig. You know, if we were MMA mathing, he knocked out Steve Ursig in 1 round. Pantoja went to a close decision.
Mm-hmm. The way that we're deciding this March Madness bracket is with MMA math.
Exactly. No, but I think Pantoja, if these guys fought right now, which I mean, this is supposedly
they probably will.
The next matchup, whenever they announce it, you know, it feels like it's just supposed to be on every single pay-per-view and it's push back. But I think Pantoja takes this fight.
He edges it out a little bit.
Little edger.
It's because Pantoja is too skilled on the ground. If France doesn't land an early knockout, Pantoja just wins rounds 2, 4, and 5 for either a unanimous or a split decision. Like, you know, you look at the history of flyweight, because I had to do some research for like Brandon Royval for a striking video. And I was just like researching Kai Kara-France, Brandon Royval, Brandon Moreno. Dude, I swear 50% of flyweight fights end in a split decision. Like they've all gone to split decision with each other. So it's like they're all about the same skill level. But I also looked at France's resume and he actually doesn't stack up to the rest of them.
No, he doesn't.
He's lost to all of them. His best win, I mean, I would count the Amir Albazi as a win, even though he lost by split decision. It was a clear robbery. And then the Steve Ursig fight when he had a bunch of hype behind him.
Oh, how do you lose to Amir Albazi?
Other than that, Other than that, like all of his first round 21 finishes, they're from the regionals, brother. Yeah. I don't care. I don't care about that. And Steve Ursig. Steve Ursig in the regionals. So yeah, it's Pantoja. It has to be.
All right, moving on. 4 seed Brandon Royval versus 5 seed Peter Yan.
It's pronounced Piotr Yan.
Piotr. Sorry. I thought about pulling out a Piotr, but then I just didn't care enough.
Yeah, sometimes I go through phases where I'll like try and pronounce the names correctly.
Like Imavov in the last in yesterday's video.
Israel Adesanya. Bro, you're not that guy, pal. Anyways, Royval versus Yan. Very, very interesting matchup.
Yeah, I think that this is very much 2 guys who are very well-rounded.
Yeah.
I think I give Yan the definite advantage in terms of striking.
This is so close. I think you're right.
I think Jan's boxing is better.
Yeah.
Royval just has that, his number 1 trait is his like scrappiness, his grittiness.
I think that Royval has sneaky submissions too, because I like I said, I just did research on him. The amount of submissions he has against decent people is actually very impressive.
But is Piotr Jan the type of guy who's gonna get
submitted? Yeah, I don't think he is.
No, I think this fight stays on the feet is the thing.
Yeah, or scrambles, which
Yeah.
again, like, you know, probably won't count for very much. So if striking is the main factor in this fight,
I think it's I vote Piotr Jan in this fight.
oh man, I'm actually so torn on this. But
Oh, do we have a coin in case we have to do like a coin flip if we're just
we'll
don't
do rock paper scissors.
Okay.
I'll go with Jan on this one though,
Okay.
just because he is more proven. He's more, I'd say, technical on the feet, and if you size them up, I think Jan wins.
All right, our next matchup, a matchup we've already seen before, but does it change 2 months later? 2-seed Merab Dvalishvili, the bantamweight champion, versus number 7 ranked Umar Nurmagomedov.
Well, yeah, like you said, we just saw this matchup. Merab's the 2nd seed for a reason. I don't see him being beaten by many of these guys.
Yeah, Merab doesn't lose to Umar yet.
No, not yet. I
Not
think
yet.
maybe in 2026 March Madness.
Yeah, the easiest pick so far in this video.
Yeah, it's easy. Merab, no diff.
And then our next one is a super fun matchup. 3-seed Sean O'Malley versus 6-seed Brandon Moreno. You know, Brandon Moreno's coming off of his best performance maybe he's had in a long time against Amir Albazi, to be
To be fair.
to be fair. While Sean O'Malley coming off potentially his worst performance, that loss versus Merab. This is tough.
This is a really tough one. Moreno is obviously going to be much more skilled on the ground. We've seen him have that absolute war with Figgy over and over again, where he's proven himself. He has a decent chin on him. He's not that old. He's only like 31, 32. So he's about the same age as O'Malley, even though Moreno's been around at the top for a long time. I think Moreno has a big experience gap on O'Malley, which would help him. And I think if you're looking at, we're assuming all these are 5-round title fights.
Yeah.
I low-key think that Moreno could win on the ground.
Sean O'Malley beat Merab in round 5 though, and that's unheard
No,
of.
I know. And he did beat Aljo, and Aljo's a really good grappler. I think it honestly would depend on the night. If O'Malley's turned on, I think he wins this fight.
Yeah.
If he's switched on, he'll KO Moreno.
Like if we were talking about O'Malley post Cheeto Vera, pre Merab, we'd be like, oh yeah, Sean wins this easily.
Yeah.
You know, but in 2025,
I think it's probably more likely than not in a 5-round fight, and I said the same thing about Merab, and I ate my words, O'Malley can probably find a KO.
yeah, how's Moreno's chin? Has he been chinned much?
Not very much. Like, he's been rocked a few times
Yeah.
against Figgy and been dropped for sure, but it's not that bad.
Yeah. Are we going with Sean O'Malley here?
Do you want to do? I feel like O'Malley probably gets it done 60% of the time.
I think I have the slight lean for O'Malley.
Yeah. All right. Well, then let's go with him.
All right.
And comments, don't call us casuals, even though the thumbnail of this video is going to be O'Malley.
All right.
I feel like he represents March Madness. I don't know why.
He looks like a baller. All right, moving on to featherweight and lightweight. Starting off with number 1 seed Islam Makhachev versus number 8 seed Movsar Evloev.
Battle of the Daggies.
Yeah, Movsar loses that fight.
Really? I thought he won that fight.
No.
No, it's there's no difference, bro. Like, you have to pick Makhachev. He's the best fighter in the world right now.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
Evloev don't have the striking to keep up with Makhachev.
Yeah, Evloev ain't that Cinderella story, I'll be honest.
I guarantee you, though, people in our comments are the Evloev fans. For some reason, they're on our channel. They're like, oh, dude, you haven't seen Evloev's chain wrestling, bro, up against the fence? Bro, Makhachev has the same freaking thing.
Evloev basically lost to Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah, Makhachev taught Evloev how to wrestle. Like, that's the level. Also, the striking, like, I think to beat Makhachev, you're going to need to stun him a couple of times, you know? Poirier Loki beat him up on the feet a little bit. I feel like you're going to need that type of power to even have a chance. Evloev don't got that, little bro.
No.
Evloev ain't built like that. No. So it's probably Makhachev 49-46 decision.
All right, moving on to probably my favorite, most interesting fight in this whole video. Number 4 seed Diego Lopez up against number 5 seed Charles Dublancs Oliveira.
Dude, can you give me like, I don't know basketball like that. Can you give me like a basketball analogy what this is like?
This is like an international, like Tony Parker, or like maybe I'm like,
KD.
oh no, for the Spurs. This is like Tim Duncan, being Charles Oliveira and having Wembanyama come up as Diego Lopez, the fastest rising star.
All right. I see the vision there. Yeah, Charles more on the back half of his career, Lopez on the rise right now, but I feel like they have low-key very similar
styles, but I think that Lopez has the potential to catch Charles because Charles is a little chinny at this point. One uppercut.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because, you always have to go back to Chandler caught him in round 5, Charles couldn't submit Chandler in 5 rounds, and Chandler did end up catching him. Like, Chandler, bro, ain't got that sauce.
Yeah, but do we think that Lopez has the gas tank?
But I thought Chandler wouldn't have the gas tank either, and
we've seen Lopez gas out in 3-round fights.
No, I know, and we've seen Chandler gas out in 1-round fights, bro. Like, at some point, it doesn't matter if you're being tied up on the ground. Like, you're kind of resting there.
Yeah.
Lopez, if he gets, a body locked by Charles, you're low-key resting for that round, which is the reason why Chandler could survive for that long and have a gas tank at the 5th round. I think that Lopez would hurt Charles early on. I very much think this could go either way. I see Lopez probably landing some really big shots on Charles. Charles goes on his back. Lopez follows him down to the ground like he did with Ortega, but can't finish him. Because how do you finish Charles on the ground? It's very tough.
Well, I think in my mind, I'm playing this out as Lopez's inexperience cost him this fight. Like, he somehow puts himself into a really bad position. Next thing you know, Charles got your back.
That's a good point.
Sleep, brother.
That's a good point. I would, at this point in their careers, and if they're the same weight class, I would almost lean Lopez by an early KO. And I know that's controversial. And I could see both ways, but for the sake of the video, I think Lopez could get the win against Charles.
For the sake of not having to talk about Islam versus Charles one more time.
Well, should we rock, paper, scissors?
I'm 50-50. So if you're leading Lopez, I'm okay going Diego Lopez.
I mean, look, I'm not okay with it. I just I think that's what's gonna happen,
All right, we'll go with Diego Lopez.
All right.
The fans are gonna kill us, and we love Charles. We got his wig back there.
Bro, I got the Brazilian flag behind me.
Yeah.
But
next fight up, 2-seed Alexander Volkanovski up against number 7-seed Justin Gaethje. This is an interesting one.
It kind of is, and the only reason because Volk's chin.
Yeah.
I think if Volk still had a chin, there would be no question that he could out-wrestle Gaethje and just...
he'd 50-45 him.
Yeah, he'd outwork him on the feet, similar to what Max Holloway did, but Max Holloway didn't have to mix in the wrestling. Gaethje's only chance is probably a big shot,
But does he have that big shot? Does he have that power?
Of course he does. Does. He has the leg kicks as well, which are really effective. We saw Topuria use leg kicks against Volk and spun him around once. So it's not going to be like decisive victory for either one, I would say, because I think Volk probably gets caught at least once.
Oh yeah, he doing the hokey pokey.
Yeah, but ultimately, skill for skill, I'm still gonna choose Volk.
Yeah, I'd lead Volk in this fight.
You can't trust Gaethje. Yeah, I'd never bet on Gaethje in my life.
Yeah,
except at UFC 300 when I bet on Gaethje with my life.
I bet on 313 and it worked out. So, all right, moving on. Our last featherweight lightweight fight. Number 3 seed Arman Tsarukyan versus number 6 seed. It was tough to know what to do with this guy.
Yeah, where to put him.
Ilia Topuria. Actually, I was going to say Arman, your day's over, but this is actually a little bit closer.
Well, yeah, this is my least favorite fight to make at lightweight right now.
Yeah.
You know this. So I don't know why you would do this to me. But I need Topuria to advance through the ranks for my sanity.
Yeah, I would lead Ilia Topuria here.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Arman lose a couple times in his career. Gamrot, yeah. And we've seen Arman, he has a good chin, but his striking is just not anything special.
Well, and your chin doesn't matter against Ilia Topuria.
Yeah, bro, he'll spam axe kicks and think he's winning the striking. That's about it. So I think Topuria has the takedown defense and then the massive shots. You just can't bet against him at this point.
Yeah. All right, moving on to our next division, welterweight and middleweight. Starting off with number 1 seed, middleweight champion Dricus du Plessis up against number 8 seed Kamaru Usman. And
I think Dricus could win this in the press conference. Honestly, he'd make fun of Usman, the fake African champion. Usman would start crying, and that's about it.
Oh, I forgot about the narrative of real African champion in this fight.
Yeah. I just think, Usman's skill for skill, he might be more technical, better clinch game, bro, don't matter. Dricus has better plot armor, you know? He's so good at what he does, which is being bad. He's so good at being bad.
Yeah.
And Usman can't handle that right now. He's on the downturn in his career. Dricus is very much improving, so it's easy. Dricus.
Once again, no Cinderella story.
No.
All right, our next matchup, I'm looking at this right now, and I'm like, oh crap, this is tough. 4 seed Nasruddin Imavov up against number 5 seed Shavkat Rakhmonov.
Very interesting. I don't know where to start.
Striking advantage goes to Imavov.
Yeah, not like by a lot though, you know.
The
power for sure, and the straight punches, and I would say maybe kicks would go to Shavkat. Shavkat has really interesting kicks, and it's really
the
close.
Clinch is Shavkat.
Yeah, wrestling, they both have good wrestling.
Yeah, I think they'd be pretty even in terms of ground scrambles. So
I think this one might have to be rock paper scissors. Honestly,
well, who do you lean?
I'd probably lean. It's hard not to, when they're in a close weight class, it's hard not to take weight class into account.
Yeah.
Because I look at Imavov and I think the dude's massive.
Yeah, but Shavkat's huge.
I know, but Shavkat doesn't have like that. I just don't know. You know, like if they matched up now, I would pick Imavov, and that's because Imavov's bigger.
Yeah.
But taking weight class out of it, it's dead even for me. Like I'm dead 50-50 on it.
Well, I lean Shavkat.
Well, then I'm going to leave Imavov. And we're going to have to do rock, paper, scissors.
All right.
All right.
On shoot?
Yeah. Okay. And best of one.
Yeah.
All right. What are you going? What are you doing?
I'm telling you.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Shavkat. Moving on. I really hope you guys could see that at home.
Yeah. It might be behind the laptop. I don't know. Yeah. Shavkat, the plot armor came through.
All right. Next up. This is probably the most unfortunate first round matchup you could have. Number 2 seed Bilal Muhammad, the welterweight champion, you know, remember the name, up against number 7 seed Khamzat Chimaev.
Dang, this is brutal for Bilal. You know, pretty much anyone else he probably beats, and Chimaev's just doing him dirty. It's Chimaev.
Yeah, you can't. Oh,
bro, he put the check mark next to Bilal.
Oops, and when I just changed his name to Bella, so.
I like Chimaev in this fight. He has good striking, you know, good enough to keep up with Bilal on the feet, and then the wrestling. I just don't see Bilal. When has anyone ever taken Chimaev down? It's impossible for me to picture in my mind.
Bilal's key to victory here, you know, and it's not like he's striking up against Sean Brady.
No.
You know?
No.
All right, speaking of Sean Brady, somehow this man's the number 3 seed in March Madness. Number 3 seed Sean Brady up against number 6 seed Sean Strickland. This is probably the worst fight of all time.
Never thought I'd see the day.
Can we eliminate both of them?
Yeah, honestly. I would, right now, I'd lean Sean Brady.
Yeah.
You know, the wrestling, even the striking looks decent. But I think if he gets it to the ground, his control is gnarly.
Yeah, if you have these guys in the same weight classes, just Sean Brady versus Leon 2.0, basically. There's no difference between Strickland and Leon.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, the only thing is Leon's a more dynamic striker.
Mm-hmm.
Sean is not dynamic. It's literally just...
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, I feel like this is one of those ones where it's easy to take in weight because they're similar, but, you know, Sean Brady's a small welterweight, but if you make him the same size, I think Brady easily wins this.
Yeah. All right, moving on to our final weight class, light heavyweight and heavyweight for the video for part 1. Starting it off, number 1 seed heavyweight champion John Jones up against number 8 seed Carlos Ulberg.
Oh, I have no idea. This is a really tough one, guys.
The guy that lost to Jan Blachowicz or the GOAT?
I think it has to be John Jones.
That was easy.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. Number 4 seed Alex Poatan Pereira up against number 5 seed Cyril Gahn.
Interesting fight.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, and I'm imagining this, how we're not taking weight into account here, too. So
True.
So I think it's even another step for Pereira.
Yeah, that's a good point. Cyril Gahn's a big heavyweight.
But he's young.
But he's not good at striking. He has no ground game, you know?
Yeah, which is what you need against Pereira.
Mm-hmm. Even the threat of a takedown can really stifle Pereira, like we've seen, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like Ankalaev even got him to the ground, but just the thought of that takedown really scared him. And if, you know, Gahn doesn't have that threat. He doesn't have submission threat. He doesn't have takedown threats, or at least good takedown threats. So I think Pereira's just going to be free to stay on the outside, strike at will, and piece him up. At least that's what I hope.
All right, next matchup. Light heavyweight champion 2-seed Magomed Ankalaev up against number 7 seed Alexander Volkov.
This is a good matchup.
I think it's very similar to what we saw with Ankalaev versus Pereira.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I think Volkov just doesn't have that KO power to threaten Ankalaev.
Yeah, I think that the volume of Ankalaev would just be too much for
The pressure is
Volkov.
crazy.
Yeah.
And the wrestling. We've seen Volkov cannot handle wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
That's how Cyril Gane won.
Yeah.
He won with the control time on the ground, even though it's ridiculous. But
Yeah.
Ankalaev's just too good right now.
It's interesting how that by far in this division, and like these are just easy matchups.
Yeah.
You know?
There's such a big skill gap.
Yeah, and it doesn't stop with the next one. Our final matchup for today's video for part 1, number 3 seed interim champion Tom Aspinall up against number 6 seed Yuri Prohaska.
This is a tough. Same weight. This is tough.
Yeah.
Because
Tom is so
bro, he's huge.
he's huge, but at the same time it's like power, but
Speed.
literally just
What do we?
always on the back foot. Mm-hmm. And if you can't let Yuri on the front foot, that's when Yuri loses fights, is when he's on the back foot.
Yeah, Yuri's so good. He's so underrated still.
But the chin of Yuri,
The chin could be a problem.
I think just because of the chin of Yuri is where we see the issues.
Yeah,
in this fight.
and I do think that Aspinall has that takedown game. I think it's close, bro. I actually think it's really close.
I think it's closer than you might think.
Yeah.
But I just can't get over the chin of Yuri up against a guy like Tom Aspinall with the shortest average fight time in UFC history.
Yeah, but who wins? We've seen Yuri take it to deep waters, and that's where he thrives, you know?
But I don't see this fight getting deep enough.
Really? I think it would.
The power.
But Yuri has a great chin still. Bro, Jamal Hill hit him with bombs. Pereira's just built different. Like, it's so hard to tell how good Aspinall's power would be in a lower weight class, you know, if they're the same weight. I mean, we can still go Aspinall, but I hate to see Yuri be eliminated this early. You know,
it is a tough look for Yuri, but this is best of the best.
Because he probably beats, like, I would beat him. I would put him against Volkov and Gane and Ulberg. Like, he wins all those other matchups,
yeah,
which sucks.
But he just has to fight.
Oh, it's a sad day.
All right, that wraps it up for part 1. Make sure you guys come back tomorrow for part 2. We're going to be going through the rest of the entire bracket, coming out with our March Madness winner in 2025.
Looking forward to it.
So
surely it couldn't be Makhachev or Topuria, right?
No, they're in the same division.
Oh shit.
So make sure you guys like this video, subscribe so you're ready for tomorrow's video, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for the March Madness finals. Peace.
See ya.